All right, everybody, welcome back to the Heath Barn. Hope we've all had a lovely day. This episode was a lot of fun. This is a guy that I've known for a really long time, since I was a kid, pretty much. He is my brother-in-law's brother. So my sister Kitty, who was on here a few episodes ago, it's her husband's brother. His name's Vince Porter. We went to the same high school. He coaches baseball at Crestwood Junior High in Paris, Illinois. I coached basketball out there at one point. So did he. So a lot of stuff we talk about in this episode. We start off by talking about he is now a grandfather of identical twin boys. So we start off talking about that and what that's been like for him. Then we just kind of transition into old stories. A lot of basketball stuff. We talk about his high school basketball coach, Roger Beals, who passed away recently. Tell some stories about him. And yeah, then we just, old stories mostly about sports, but then we give our thoughts on some other things, travel ball, NIL, all kinds of stuff. So we just kind of go where the conversation leads us. But it was a lot of fun, and probably have him back again here sometime. So thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I want to thank Vince for coming in, and welcome to the Heath Barn. All right, everybody, welcome to Heath Barn. This episode, I had my sister Kitty in a week or two ago, and this would be my brother-in-law's brother. We're sticking with a sort of a family-ish theme, but this is Vince Porter. How's it going?
Not bad. This cool setup you got here, man.
Yeah, thank you. I was telling you when we there was stuff up to the ceiling, the whole. Because whenever this barn, I remember this little section here, and if you look up there, when Staples lived here way back in the day, it's just like a workshop and whatever. But there was stuff packed to the gills, so it took a while to. But I kind of had this in mind. I thought man cave, and then I thought if I start doing this would be a good, little tucked away spot. So
like a trolley system, huh?
Yeah. But, so yeah, I like it out here.
I knew he did a lot of work like that back in the day when he was here.
Yes, I remember when we moved in here, it had all kinds of crazy stuff. But I also remember being in the bathroom, and if you're on the toilet, there was a review mirror, so you could see if people pulled into your driveway while you're on the toilet. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, he had all kinds of neat stuff, but. I was going to ask you, you were talking about Kit was just talking about her new grandbaby. So I've seen pictures of your grandsons. Why don't you get into that a little bit, because they are identical twins.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So what? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's something else. I remember. So I was still working at the mill, and I had kind of a heart issue, we thought, right? It came to be anxiety, but so I was kind of recovering at home, and Will and Ashley came over to see how I was doing, and I sat down in the chair, and they handed me a gift bag, and I didn't think too much about it because I hadn't seen them for a while, and we're talking, and they started to fidget, right? I could tell they wanted me to look in that bag.
Yeah.
So anyway, after they got married, they were probably married for 6 months, and I would say I'm ready for grandkids. And my wife would get on me, and Holly would get on me, but anyway, so we're sitting there, and he said, I said, well, let me see what's in the gift bag. So I pulled it up, and it's a sonogram.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God! I got up and hugged him and carried on like this, and he goes, look at it again.
Oh,
I'm like,
geez,
what?
please.
He said, look at it again. I'm like, there's an A and a B on here.
Oh man!
It was funny. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So. His eyes, to look at my son, his eyes were huge, right? Like, yep, I'm good one of them got into.
Oh my gosh.
They say that twins skip generations. So I guess Ashley's grandma is a twin, right? So I don't know, but yep, twins run in her family. There was my grandpa Porter had twin brothers, but there was 10 total, so I think the law average is going to catch up after a while, right? So, so at the point you're going to have some twins, but yeah, it's incredible. You know, as I've heard about twins, of course, and things like that, and think about even when Will was growing up, and look at Owen now. It's like I can't imagine what I'd have done if there was two of them at one time,
I know.
right? So
I think about that too.
It's but to watch them, like I said, I'm just out at Larry Marie's, and they live over north and east of Greencastle, a little town called Fillmore.
Yeah,
Will and Ashley do, but when they come back and they stay up here sometimes and get to go up and hang out with them, and sometimes we go over there. But it's just incredible to watch, man. I can't even explain it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And they're well behaved. I mean,
I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
You just want to squeeze them.
It is little cheeks, and they are very hard to tell apart.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I still get them mixed up.
Yeah.
Silas has a little knot on his head, right, or something, and Sam's a little chunkier. But they have completely different personalities. But it is something to watch, man. I can't even explain it. So.
I can't even imagine. But like you said, having two.
Oh yeah.
That's stressful enough.
And send us pictures all the time, and it is.
How old are they now?
18 will be 2 February 28th.
Yeah.
Right. So
they're right in there.
Yep. It's. I remember going the first time I held them. Right. Of course, it was really into COVID, kind of.
Yeah.
Right? So went over and I remember holding them, and I just cried, man.
Oh yeah.
It's just one of them things where Tracy took pictures of them, holding them in each arm, and it's again, of course, can't explain it.
Right. But. Yeah, I can't. Well, and they, like what kid that I know, like, but those boys I used to coach, the Ferguson boys. There was they just had a girl, maybe 6 months ago or so, and there was like a little chance that they were, for twins too. Yeah. But no, but he's pretty relieved that it was.
I was actually talking about you with one of them. So of course they're older now, and it was the Wednesday night golf league out there. And we were talking, and he acted like he goes, "I know you from somewhere." And I said, "Well," my brother is your old coach's brother-in-law, John Stephen. He goes, "Oh yeah." So we talked a little bit, but he also has a square body truck like Owen's. His is orange, but it's we talked about that a little bit too. But they're good kids. It seems like they were tough. I remember you were coaching. They were tough. Yeah.
Had that, little and feisty.
Yep.
But there's something else I was going to ask you too. Well, it was about the twins, but whenever Kit was explaining like a grandparent's feeling though, like, rather than just like a parent, and how there's like two layers to it, because it's like your own kid, you're so happy and proud of them, and then there's like a whole nother layer to it, so I can't imagine
it is to watch. It seems like, Ashley even says it, right, that they're daddy's boys, but it's proud can't even describe it, right? So I watch them go to him and waller on him, and it's just so, it seems so natural to him, right? But it's to watch them and how they look at him, and how he looks back at them. It's something again, I can't explain it. It's different, right? Because you view them as your grandkids, and there's that old adage about, I'm sure Will probably sees that too, and that I was probably tougher on him than I will be on the grandkids, right? You get grandma and grandpas and you get the candy and whatever, but or it's funny how you never had money for McDonald's when I was growing up, but you do for the grandkids, right? So
definitely. It was. When I saw pictures of them, because don't see them very often, so which is kind of good, because like you see these kids that you don't see in person, and then like you see a picture of them and they grow up every time. So I saw those two, I'm like, oh shit, I would just like to get a hold of them.
Their cheeks, and and they were. It's a little tough, right? So they're about an hour and 20 minutes away. Will and Ashley, the boys are. So of course baseball just got over for me, so didn't get a chance to run over all the time. And so they're a little leery when I get there, right? They're a little, and but it's like they followed me to the door when I just left. I was there about an hour and a half, and when I come in, they're like looking at me and kind of remember you, and I try to wear a hat every time or whatever. And then when I went to put my shoes on, they followed me to the door. So that's
good.
Cool.
That's how he's. My son, he's 7, and he's still like that. Just shy, but he's like, but like when he was like that age, it was hard for. And then like. One of his answers and be like, "Oh, he doesn't like me." I'm like, "He doesn't know what he likes yet. He's like exactly. 1, so just chill out. It'll be fine." Yeah, But, well, you wanted to come on to talk a little bit about, okay, I remember, so how much younger am I than you, like 7 years?
I graduated 88.
Okay. So you graduated same year as my sister Heather.
Yeah, yep.
And then, so that'd be 8 years.
Yep.
But, I mean, I remember being little, and, you know, when your brother started dating my sister, and I remember I just was kind of a tag along a lot and would go play ball. I just wanted to play, but it was with kids older than me all the time, you know.
Yep.
But not that I was doing very good, but it was at least like, that's how it was around here back in the day. You just go play.
Yep.
You didn't give a didn't care who it was or where you were going or whatever. But
I want to say something too. I don't know if you guys that listened to John's podcast how good a player he was. I don't know if that's ever been brought up, but I can remember, like I say, you were younger than me and come back and watching Chrisman basketball, and man, you were tougher than hell. I'll just say it is what it is. Nice left-handed shot, and it was something. You know, it's to watch good players play. Still enjoy it to this day, of course.
Yeah.
Right? So,
well, thank you. But a lot of that though was moving here, and it was just so I would have been in the 6th grade. So, you know, Coach Beals, who we're going to talk about, well, I'm sure, but we, you know, it was just like a thing here where you just played, and a little thing just kind of switched where I don't know. I remember I have this memory. The one person that I wish was still here that meant probably the most to me growing up was Jeff Beals. And I remember, I don't know, like in the 7th grade or something, we weren't worth a shit, but it was and he took over, but he was just like, he said this thing, like, just here, like right now, what we're doing, like, this isn't enough. Like, you got to go practice on your own. And like, cause our class wasn't good, but, you know, it was one of those where it's like, oh, and a little flip getting. So then I was just, after that, I don't know. I just wanted to shoot. I was what I was, but I felt like if I didn't shoot every day or practice every day, I was going to get passed up, you know? So
yeah. And I think that's something that's lost, man, with kids these days. Even, you know, like when I come up to town up here and we drive around the square, you know, in summers, there was 15 or 20 people at the court. And you winter stick, right?
You'd have to wait. Hell, you wouldn't. It'd take you. If you got beat, you'd be another 45 minutes before you get in. You know.
And now you go up there. I'm not knocking anybody, of course, but you go up there when the rim just broke and there's grass growing up in the court. I mean, they've changed it now to some other stuff, but you know, your point. It's so you know, people often ask me. So I've been coaching baseball in Crestwood for, I think this was my 7th year. Played a little basketball at junior college, but people say, "What do you like more?" Or what are the comparisons? And I'm like, well. You know, there's really not, but what I can tell you is with basketball is one thing you can do and get better at by yourself. Right?
Yeah.
So if you go to grandma's house and she don't have a hoop, but she has a sidewalk or a driveway, you can pound the basketball there. Right?
Yeah.
You can shoot. You know, you see you shooting all the time. You can shoot, and that's how you get better. Baseball, somebody's got to throw it to you, somebody's got to hit it to you, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So completely different, but
unless you got a wall.
Yeah, exactly right.
There's real quick before I forget, like. Stevie's upset. This has been about it's been a little while, but we used to watch the baseball bunch all the time, on YouTube, you know.
Yep.
And there's one where Ozzy's on there, and he's got a bunch of Ozzy stuff he loves, but you know, he's the wizard and all this other kind of whatever BS. But he shows them wall ball, you know.
Yep.
And so you know, my son got that memorized, and he's bouncing it just awesome. you know, and everything. But you're right though, because. But in that house down there, in our basement, mm-hmm. That's when I used to go down there and just bounce it. But you can't. You're exactly right. You can't hit.
Yep.
You can't do. You know, you got a basketball. All you need is a ball and a hoop.
Yep.
You know,
exactly right. Like I say with baseball, I remember going up and to the old library up here, and I'd take a tennis ball and bounce off them steps. And stand out there, right, because of that sidewalk come back to, and you could feel them there. But yeah, but like I say with basketball, if you got the drive. And just go out and shoot.
Yeah.
So you get better.
Yeah.
Definitely. But, you know, you talked about looking back and when I remember seeing, like, going to Chrisman games when I was young, right? And the gym was packed and it was hot and watching guys like Dave Fraley or I don't know, Tim Hollingsworth, right? Them guys back in the day wanting to be a Cardinal. man, I want to be a Cardinal, right? So, and that's what I think that's what drove us all back in the day to be up on the court, uptown playing and things like that. So,
see, mine is the same but different because that's where we were going to Shiloh.
yeah.
And I remember those holiday tournaments.
Oh yeah.
And I remember Redmond, playing. And that's when I had a big thing in my mind, like I'd like to be doing that when I get older. But we were still going to Shiloh. Yeah. But and that's when all this stuff, whenever they were talking, Mom and Dad were talking about coming over here. That's when I was. Yeah, that was. But the thing is, though, it's like that was such a long time ago. I think about how everything now, and it's just like it's never gonna be like that.
Yep.
But at the same time, I do. I remember being like in grade school, running around at those holiday tournaments at Shiloh and seeing them, and then I remember going to a game or two over here. But there was this kind of mystique about them, and that's another thing that kind of pushed me. I wanted to get in that mix,
Yep.
And Jeff was a real big part of that, but.
Yeah, Jeff and I got real close before he passed. We played golf a lot, and things like that. Even back when the alumni would come back and play against Christmas, right, against the teams.
And that's another thing too. I love that shit, and you can't do that shit anymore. It's just
can't do it anymore.
Yeah, that was. We just looked forward to that all year. It's just,
exactly. It was rough, but man, he would push me, which made me that much better. But man, really challenge you. But you got really close with him. We were talking about Coach Beals a little bit, and how it's hard to believe that he's gone. But Jeff's been gone 13, 14 years, and I still think every time I golf, I think about him. Yeah, right. So we golf so much at the end, and it seems like he was one of those guys that was, what do you call it, supernatural, right, but untouchable. And I think that something got to him. It's still hard to swallow, right? Yeah. So,
well, he was. I remember because when I was like junior high school, him and Dad got real good buddies. And, and he was over here a lot, like him and his wife at the time. They'd be over here and stuff like that. But Jeff never correlated into coaching me at all.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't mean anything. But I just remember hopping. I was just before I had my license, I just hop in with somebody, whether it was him or Chad or whatever. They go play Paris, go play whatever, and just go. You just go play.
Yep, up to Danville sometimes.
Up to Danville, yes. Yeah. That opened your eyes a little.
Yes, it did. You run into some different
I played in that
stuff.
Oh, jeez. I haven't thought about any of this stuff in a long time, but the summer before my senior year, it was Keon Clark's godfather. Mm-hmm. Wanted to start a team up there, and they're grown-ass men in that. But he wanted to get high school kids from the area and go up there and get a team. And we were the Gold Rush Pawnbrokers. And I went up there and learned some stuff. It was just
Chico's
up there.
Bail bonds, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it was that would have been Lincoln or Douglas. Which one was the one was a little more is either Lincoln or Douglas? I don't know. Either way, but that was a learning.
It was Doug, I think.
Well, and they had guys that were playing in college. Do you remember this name? Just popped in my head. It's like a Kaliko Bowie.
Yeah,
he was playing in that league.
No kidding.
Yeah, but it was cool because you played on those? We'd go in Westville and play in that tournament every year, Eli Williams tournament.
Nostalgia. Yep.
Another guy that passed away recently.
Yep.
But like Keon Clark would be there and all those guys, and Keon came to a couple open gyms at Chrisman, and that's a guy that averaged about 12 and 9 for the Raptors there. So
he played at
played a lot of places.
Yeah. Remember he brought a couple guys back from
either Temple. He went to Temple. Then he went to UNLV.
UNLV.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember he brought a couple guys back like you say, you think you're pretty good until you
exactly. It is such a That's another thing too, though, that I wish big fish in a small pond is definitely relatable to.
It is, right? So, and I come to find out later, it's funny, Wyatt really was my baseball coach. Of course, baseball was never big in Crispin. But I was probably, or people tell me, I was a better baseball player than basketball player. I remember he asked me my senior year and said, "Hey, you're going to play basketball? You've had some offers." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm looking at different places and things like that." And he goes, "Okay." So when I was playing softball down at Paris, he played with a couple guys that were on my team, and he come back. I was probably 24 at the time. He come back. He'd moved away shortly after I got in, after I graduated, and we're sitting in the back of the trucks after the softball games, having a couple beers like softball players do. And we're talking about the old times in baseball. And he goes, "Did you ever wonder why I asked you if you're going to play basketball in college?" I said, "No, I never thought much about it." He goes, "I had not blown my own horn by any means, but it kind of upset me to an extent." He goes, "I had a lot of offers, people wanting you to come for baseball and talk to him and things like that." I'm like, "Why didn't you say something?" He goes, "I wouldn't go step on Roger Beals' toes." And to your point, right?
Yeah.
Basketball and Crispin was
right.
That was it.
Yeah.
Right, back then. So, but
we got a better shot at baseball.
Yeah, exactly. You realize when you're 6'1" and a white guy, right?
Yeah.
So you just you don't see it when you to your point.
Yeah.
You're a hero or whatever you want to call it in town of 1,200 people.
Yeah,
so,
I know it is. It's you don't when you're in your little bubble.
Yep.
But at the same time, neat thing to go through when you're playing.
The memories.
Yeah.
So.
But with coaching though, you talked about like Coach Beals, and I knew. Okay, well, so let's see here. I'm trying to think. What's funny, what I completely forget about, he was my junior high track coach.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I went to state in the mile, and he's like, I remember he had this, he didn't want the other kids to know what he was saying, so he's like, brazos is Spanish for arms. Mm-hmm. So I'd run by and be like, brazos! Like to start pumping my arms. Like, he wanted me to give me an edge over those other 12-year-olds, but...
Yeah.
But I mean, I knew him obviously. Dad was in mom and dad's wedding and everything, so I've always known that family. But
yeah, I've heard a lot of stories that you may or may not know. But when he was coaching, when Coach Beals was over Young American, things like that, your dad was the main guy that pulled him over to Crispin.
Yeah,
said, so that's what your dad ended up doing for the town. The school system is something else.
Yeah. Well, when Dad was he wasn't in the nursing home yet, but he was whatever, it's not a big deal, but he had like dementia and stuff. But okay, so he couldn't tell you the littlest things, but I had him over. I'd sneak him out of here once in a while and go. This is when, by the way, Vince went to the wrong house this morning to come up.
I'm not even texting him. I bet they thought there's some big, was it on Christmas vacation? There's a big hulking man on the front porch. So I was like, I bet scared the shit out of somebody.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't go to our set because we bought that house on Washington where Dave and Missy lived.
Oh, yeah.
That was our second.
Okay.
That's where we lived after that one. I'm really glad you didn't go to that one because those people, yeah. So, anyways, that's the house though, like where I would get Dad out of here and get him on the golf cart, and we'd go and I made. Do you remember that house at all?
Oh yeah.
Okay, remember the back room that was. Well, it would have been like I think John's bedroom back in the day.
Bedroom.
I turned that into like something like this kind of.
Yeah.
And so like not this elaborate, but yeah. But anyway, Dad had me and Mandy first got married. She made me a little. She took pallets and made me a little L-shaped little bar. So yeah, so we used that. But anyways, he'd sit there and I don't know. We got on Coach Beals for some reason, but he was like, if I said what's 10 plus 10, he might not know it, but he was nailing these stories from.
I've heard that
from from
long-term memories there. And,
whenever they were in Hume, before he came over, and just telling stories about him and Betty and Mom and all this kind of stuff. He told me about how they met.
Yeah,
like Dad was hitting or something, and Roger saw him, or no, either that or no, I can't remember. But there was like a practice or something going on at Shiloh, and one of them was pitching, and Dad got up there and took BP off of him or something, and hit one, however far, whatever. Yeah. But anyways, he was some of those stories he was telling, and then he got to telling stories about Jeff and stuff too, and because not a lot of people knew Jeff wasn't feeling good, but he told. I think Dad's about the first person he told. So yeah, those stories are cool. But when you it's hard to imagine him being anywhere else but here. But yeah, he started off at Young America, which is basically Shiloh.
Yeah, really. So yeah, a lot of people. Oh, you don't know. I remember I wouldn't say horror stories by any means, right? But you hear the tough side of him, right? And it's funny because
But
I've got
you know what? So what?
yeah,
Now
exactly.
you can't. Oh my gosh!
That
I don't
made
even
me
want to
the-
get into
made
all
me to
that.
what I
Jesus
am. And
Christ.
I've got some stories like I was only able to coach basketball at Crestwood for 1 year. Helped Mike White up here for 15 or 16 years, and
Yeah.
developed a lot of relationship with those guys. I still talk to.
That's the good part about
It
coaching.
is. It's incredible.
But there's definitely some other stuff. It's
There,
not.
yeah. But it's well. So let's say my 8th grade year. Of course, there was no junior high, and again, to watch high school basketball, Christmas high school basketball. I don't know if you call it romantic or let's sound corny, but it's they're like gods to an extent. Right?
Yeah.
Those folks I watched, even the 83, 84 teams when I was really starting to pay attention, and everybody wanted to get a varsity uniform when they were freshmen, which is tough. Mm-hmm. Especially my freshman year because it was the 85 team. They got second state. So when it would have been my 8th grade year, 84. Of course, they bus us up to the high school for PE. So
Yeah.
the first run-in, I guess, not run-in even, had with Coach Beals where we're playing pickup basketball, whatever you call it, at PE, right? And he had just come up, I'll never forget it, he just come off the cross-country course, and he had a scoop shovel. So he was scooping cow poop off the track, or off the cross-country course.
By the way, okay, let's just get this out, too.
Sure.
Like, anybody from anywhere that's not from around here that listens to this, we literally have a cross-country meet that's one of the biggest meets in the state every year called the Cow Chip Classic because the cross-country course is literally, when I lived in Florida, I told people this, and they were like, shit, whatever. And I was like, I'm serious. It's literally just a cow pasture.
Yep.
And when you go out there and run in the mornings, like if you had like a Sunday morning at like 6 where you'd be out there, there'd just be there'd be cow crap everywhere,
Had to run around it.
Yep.
Cows out there with you. You had to run around the cow sometimes.
Yes, and that I got a little skittish with that.
Yeah.
Some of the guys on the team be like, "Oh, it's fine," be like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
But,
Big cow.
yes, so there's nothing in between us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I got outrun him or not.
Yeah.
So we're playing. Of course, it's regular. So all the boys are playing, even the ones that weren't all you basketball players. So coach had stopped to watch. So I'm like to myself, I'm going to put on a show because the varsity coach is watching. So he leaning on that shovel. And there was a guy guarding me. I won't mention his name, but he was not a basketball player. Didn't play in high school. I don't think he played in junior high. But
Probably
just wallered me all over the court, right? Just every time I'd stop, he'd bump into me. He's rough. He didn't realize he was rough. So
PE guys that didn't play ball, they were always they're like, "Don't get me hurt."
yes,
They have
exactly.
no idea. Yeah.
So this guy was trailing behind me, and I tagged him with the elbow, right in the forehead, and down he went like somebody shot him.
Yeah.
He no longer hit the ground. Of course, Phil Beaucamp at the time was my PE teacher. Coach yells, "Porter, get your ass over here!" I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "I never even talked to him before, right?" And
Yeah.
so I run over to him. I'm like looking at him all scared, and he goes, "Put your elbows on the stage." And I said, "What?" He goes, "Put your elbows on the stage." So I put my elbows on the stage. He reared back like he's going to hit me in the ass with that scoop shovel.
Yeah.
Because he saw me do it. I'm like, "Oh, this guy's going to hit me in the ass with a scoop shovel."
Yeah.
And then he just pulled it down and walked out the door. I'm like, that is what just happened.
Yeah.
I was trying to put it on a show, and he knew it. Right?
Yeah.
He knew I was hot dog around, but he was getting on me about tagging this guy in the forehead.
Right. Yeah.
And then, so another time too, my 8th grade year. Of course, again, our home games were at the high school, and was of course nobody would come to the gym during high school practice. So
who's your junior high coach?
Beaucamp, yeah, Phil
Gotcha.
Beaucamp.
Okay.
So yeah, he left not long after I got in high school, and but anyway, so parents or anybody couldn't come to the gym during high school practice. So, but he let us come in and watch. So I got there early. Sitting down at the opposite end of the stage, right, on the front row bleachers, right by those stairs. Just came in those doors and kind of sat down and kind of keeping myself because I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
They're going half court down at the stage end, and he and Coach Chandler up at the very top by the old scoreboard. They're sitting there. Well, I seen, I guess I can go ahead and say Steve Redmond and Eric Lucier. They were back and forth jawing a little bit. Before you know it, it become a fight.
Yeah.
Right. So they're back and forth, and so I'm watching them, and I'm like getting pretty rough. And the other 8 guys are standing around like cheering them on and stuff. So I'm looking at those guys fighting. I look up at Coach, right? I'm looking like, they gonna say anything? And it felt like 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then finally when they got stood up and the punch started to get thrown, the rest of the players broke them up. I'm like, are they gonna run? He goes, "That's good team spirit, boys." I'm like, holy cow, this guy's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
just his way about going about it.
Right. Yeah. But you were saying like, I think being in junior high and watching that stuff, like I remember for me it was, I wanted it to be like Chad and Dennis,
Yep.
And I can say, I said we weren't going to say names, but as long as we're saying nice things, it's fine.
Yeah.
But Chad Beals is Coach Beals' son, Jeff Beals' brother. But he was like 4 years ahead of me, and so was Dennis. And Dennis was, just getting dunks in games. And when you're in junior high, seeing that from around here, they're throwing alley-oops and stuff. But I always wanted to be somewhere in that whatever,
Yeah.
And I remember going and, they play Finley and all that. And Eric Smith, that big boy, I'm talking now, naming names, but I ended up getting to play with him in college and stuff. So that was cool.
Yep.
But they, that was, for me, that was, and them making it to just packed, making it to, they made it to sectionals, and Finley got them both times. But that's what my thing. And then, but like you said, though, okay, it is so far removed from this kind of mentality, okay? Because, I was just like, man, freshman, I got to get a first uniform. That's all I gave shit about. And it's and it was man, I don't want to, this is probably the most glory days stuff I've talked about in one of these pods by far, but
that's cool. Back
then it was it was a privilege to get one.
Oh yeah.
And that was my goal that whole time, and usually back then, if you started JV, they'd give you a varsity uniform, usually, whatever, that's how it worked. But so, I did, and then came in a little bit here and there when they needed a 3 and no defense, something, but, but it's but back, I remember I was in band my freshman year, and, so awesome band teacher, name another name, Mr. Fisher, so we'd be up there playing, and the whole time I'd be playing, but I'd be in my uniform, because I'm like, I got to get Gunplay songs so I get down there and so I could show everybody I got a uniform, So it was, but that was the way people thought back then.
Oh yeah.
And now it's hell. You gotta try to get kids off the street to come play.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Do you think COVID kind of but it was like that before COVID, but I feel like it's made it worse.
Yeah. Because
it just gave kids a thing where, who wouldn't rather be sitting on their ass than going to school? But it's it just gave them some kids. It just gave them this mentality where I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that was a big part of it, right? So the mentality, you could sit around
and then then they had contact tracing. So you don't even have it, but you're within 6 feet of this kid that has it. So now you got to go home too. So it's just you got a small school like this, and it's just and then you're just screwed, And but then you also get kids looking well, I was around them too, so because they just want to go home. It's just they completely different.
It is, right. And I like I say, I can to look back at those times, and I say I don't know. It is what it is, right? We all went through it, but and you hear about spikes and stuff now, but I don't know, man. Things are different, right?
Yeah.
So people say, as far as kids playing sports and things like that, it's they got video games, or they got the internet, or whatever, but I remember having Atari.
I know.
Right? It's just I still went outside and played. Right?
So
I'm not knocking anybody. Everybody does what they want to do, but it's completely different than it used to be, unfortunately.
And you got a lot of parents that are still kids, and they got their faces buried in a phone all the time. Yeah. So then their kid,
Yeah.
Which here's the thing though too. If adults doing that, that's it could be a necessity for stuff because you can do anything on a computer you can do on your phone. So people might be doing actually job they're working from their phone, but they'll just some kid just hand off a tablet and just be see you in 3 hours, and you can't. That's just neglecting their kids. But
definitely,
I told Stevie, I'm like, man, that's sneaky Sasquatch shit. That's fine for now, but put it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and he said he'll watch it. He'll watch it on because it's on his phone, and I'm going to hold out as long as humanly possible for a video game system, but he goes through phases. He'll, like I said, baseball bunch and sports stuff, and then he's on a sneaky Sasquatch kick right now. Right. But he, I was going to ask you too. Okay, what was your favorite? I have a favorite road place to play in mind by far, but what was yours when you were playing?
Believe it or not, it was Shiloh, right?
Yeah.
So again,
they were pretty good back then, right?
Yeah, they weren't too bad. Back in especially '84, they started to tail off towards them. I would hate to say that, right? Towards the middle '80s. But the Shiloh Holiday tournament, like you say, was huge.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the year we got there at 87, I was a starting point guard, and we ended up being the championship game with Martinsville.
Yeah.
And
Did Jeff Luritzen play
Jeff
back then?
Luritzen, right? Of course, played at Indiana State. And Ron Draper, and they had some good players. Matter of fact, they were ranked all year.
Yeah.
We played them in the championship game of the Shiloh Holiday tournament, and ended up beating us by like 5 or something like that. They ended up getting upset in the sectional. But yeah, man, it's that atmosphere, and for
That was a huge deal.
Shiloh was a great gym for a small school, right?
Shiloh is a good. I mean, okay, this is
A lot of people that can get in there.
Yeah.
It was
they should be playing. I know that when they came together with the other two schools, that they want each school wants to be represented with their gym and stuff like that. But it's a no-brainer to have. I mean, Shiloh's hosted like state tournaments a ton. It's a perfect place.
Yep, big parking lot and Central.
Yeah, but yes, I remember that. Okay, something just popped in my head. Was there like a really big, really tall kid from? Was it Arthur? Like blonde hair. I'm having this memory. I feel like it was Arthur, like a 6'7" kid who was tough or something. But maybe that might have been after you were gone. But no, because I was still at Shiloh. But
No, so it wasn't Arthur. So again,
they wore red.
87. It was Warrensburg Latham, I believe. But I'm thinking because this kid's name, I'll never forget. His name Brad Lurk.
Yeah.
And our tallest guy was 6'1", Walter Holt.
Yeah.
And I was 6'1" also. Troy Leonard was 6'1", but of course Walter could high jump 7 foot.
Yes.
But we were just, and this kid was 6'7", getting recruited by Wisconsin, I think Illinois a little bit. But we played him the first game of sectional, and I can remember me and John Morris just wallered. Of course, there's only 2 refs back then, right? So you could, hate to say get by with more. That's exactly what it was. We just wallered him to death.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, that might be right.
Yeah.
I just mine was. That was Paris for me. I loved playing it when Sperry having that band going.
Oh yeah.
First time I ever dunked a basketball was junior year in warm-ups at Paris.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was just.
That's a good point too. Paris is a great place to play. I got a story about again my junior year and a different side of Coach Beals around that. But that gym was awesome, and the band 400 kids or whatever it was,
I know.
and it was incredible, and it was packed to the rafters, and
that's changed too. It's just
Yeah, it's a shame because that's
not just there, everywhere.
Oh
but,
yeah.
I'm not singling out anybody, but
Yeah. It's a different animal than it used to be, no doubt.
yeah, I used to. That was. And I remember. I haven't thought about this stuff forever, but I remember 98.5, that radio station.
Yep.
Every time they had T-shirts, like my junior year, and every time somebody hit a 3, they'd throw a T-shirt up in the crowd.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say,
So they had a few T-shirts went up there. A few T-shirts. I was responsible for several of those, but it was fun though, man.
Coach down at Paris now, Crestwood baseball, right? But it's
Yeah.
to go watch the games. Of course, I'm good friends with Chase, as the coach you coached him to state championship there at Crestwood. But
Yeah.
like I say, back when you were playing and I was playing especially at Paris Gym, their student section was incredible and loud and crazy and dressed up. And
Yes.
I go to watch a game now and there's 6 or 7 kids over there. It's I hate
I know.
the kids that are playing. And again, I'm not knocking anybody. Everything changes, right? But
Right, yeah.
if they would have got to witness some of that, be part of that, it's like
Yeah.
stuff you don't forget. We're talking about it now, and that was 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. So
There was a video. I took all these VCR tapes from the school in my senior year, but there's like I remember watching that video like after, and there's a when we were playing Paris, it was up here, but there's like a giant Paris flag. This kid who's a senior, and I know him, but just like waving this giant Paris flag in the crowd.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, anybody within 8 rows of you can't see the game, but whatever. But
Yeah.
it was just crazy. But I think that those gyms too that have up here, it was always hot, packed, sweaty.
Yep.
Same thing there, at that old gym. It was, But, okay, now you coached, you guys got 4th in state this year?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, we pretty fortunate. I knew I had 5 starters coming back off last year's team, and knew we had a good group of 6, or had a good group of 6th graders coming in, and we started practice, and it's funny because, of course, Tracy didn't know. She was a cheerleader, right? Don't know much about sports, but she's over the years, of course.
That's
about
Vince's
baseball. Yeah, my wife Tracy. Yep. And every time, like after tryouts or first couple of practices, I'd come in the house. She'd be, how'd it go? I'm like, we're going to be terrible. Right? We're terrible, right? We're not going to win a game this year. And to see it evolve, right, and to start believing it. I was fortunate enough this year, one of my assistant coaches played for the 2017 team, the second year I was there, that got fourth also. And he come back, and of course the kids took to him. He's playing baseball at the DAC right now.
Yeah.
A real sound kid. He's one of those kids that didn't have a lot of athletic ability, but work his tail off.
Those are your favorite ones.
It is, right? So, and
I always feel bad for the ones that work their ass off that have a lot of talent, because it's like, well, how come I'm not? Exactly. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. I got talent. Yep. But the ones that you get, you can just squeeze every little drop out of them that you can get. Those are the best ones.
Yeah, he'd be, hey, we stepped when he was the 8th grader, right? And like say his 8th grade year was the year we got fourth. Coach, will you hit me some more ground balls? I'm like, your hands are bleeding, my hands are bleeding, but we'll keep on grinding.
Yeah,
right?
that's great.
And that's so he's getting school paid for right now, right? So kids could take something away from that if they pay attention. Hoping these boys did. But we had a good group of kids this year. Did start 4 6th graders, which is pretty rare.
Well, that's good for
end up getting fourth, right? So we dropped into 1A. So this is my 7th year, and I think we've been.
Did they change the?
So
because when we. That right there, when we won, when all those boys we went to state twice. We were double A, dropped to 1A, but that's when there was only 2 classes. Mm-hmm. But we were double A when there was a 2 class. Yeah. So how the hell did they drop down to?
So the way it works now, there's 3 classes in some sports, but what they do is, and I didn't know either until I got to checking into it, they base it off the previous year's 7th and 8th grade classes. Kid-wise, right? So that's what we bounce back and forth. Yeah. But here's what I can tell you. People say, you're 1A, you ought to have a good chance. Well, right or wrong, a lot of the 1A schools are parochial schools, church schools. Yes. So you can't find anything out about them. So a good friend of mine's the Mayo coach, and he's like, you guys are 1A, you ought to make some noise this year. I'm like, well, we got a good team too. But I said, here's the thing, right? So realistically, you could take the best 6 players from Crestwood and the best 6 kids from Mayo's and send them to St. Mary's, and they beat everybody. Yeah. Right? I mean, the family has to commit, right? Yeah. But it's based off school size. Right. And when it come regional time, I'm trying to check out these other teams, and it was funny because I'd finally get a hold of some coaches and of course, a lot of church schools in our regional, and he said, well, I would think the good Lord would want me to give you any information about them. I'm like, all right, man, I get it. So, and a lot of them weren't even ISA. So, I then found out as we got to regional that, of course, ISA changed and IHSA changed. It used to be when we were younger, right? You couldn't be on any other team, more or less, that had a uniform and still play for the high school or the junior high. They changed that. Yeah. So a lot of these kids are playing for travel teams and skipping their junior high baseball games, right? Yes. So their record didn't indicate how good they were.
That'll be my next question.
Yeah. So we had, Mattoon St. John's. They were the 5th seed, and we were the 2. Probably one of the toughest. We beat them 3-2 in the semifinals. And they were tough. And I'm like, how are you guys 6 and 8? Right. And then found out, I talked to a different coach, and he goes, well, 4 of those kids haven't played all the games with them this year. Jeez. They go to travel tournaments wherever, right? Man, I would think the parents would have an issue with that, but whatever, right? So
I can't wrap my mind around all that really. It's because I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts on that? I feel like it's really screwing up a lot of stuff, and I also feel like I could be wrong because I'm out of the loop with all this. But from the outside of it, it's just like, if you're good, they'll find you.
Oh yeah.
You know, so why are you spending all this money and,
Yeah, so I'm probably going to upset some people here, but I see AAU now, how big it is with basketball and things like that, and they say little Johnny's on AAU team somewhere. Well, if you got the money, you can get on an AAU team, right? You just pay it. Yes. But so, it is a lot different, because I remember, of course, growing up, it was you played basketball in the winter and baseball in the summer. Mm-hmm. They overlap so much now, but... matter of fact, with Chase even, right? If he hears this or whatever, it'd be like when I was coaching Babe Ruth down there. Well, we got basketball tonight, and it's 95 degrees outside, and whatever, right? So but if you're not doing that as a coach, and other schools are, you get behind. So let's take you're coaching junior high basketball, and you beat a team in the regional championship by 8 or 9 points, right? And all summer, this team is playing travel ball and shootouts or whatever you want to call it, and your team plays baseball. The next year you get beat because they're sound, right? And they're around each other more. It's just tough because I would say the kids don't get to be kids as much.
Yeah.
Even, and I was guilty of it too. So started coaching Owen's group when they were 9 in travel ball. We played.
And that's it. That's your son.
60. Yes, Owen's my youngest son. 65 games a summer.
Yeah.
Right? So and I've seen it now too. It's tough. So junior high baseball is in the fall. A lot of these kids have 75 games under their belt.
Yeah.
So it's hard the allure of winning has lost a little bit. The shininess is off of it because, if you go to a travel ball tournament and you get beat on a Saturday in the position round, you're just going to land under a tree and make fun of each other and whatever, and then play a game here in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right. So
do you think it diminishes how much they want to win for their school too?
Oh yeah, definitely does. Right.
See, I don't know, man. To me, it's like the school should trump all that. I mean, not even close. To me, it's that other stuff's just practice for your for your school. I don't know, but
but there's some, I don't know what kids think. Of course, I think a lot of parents, and I don't have really any of this way, but if like AU basketball, if I can get Johnny on a little AU basketball team, then he got a chance to go to Division I, right? No, it doesn't work that way.
And you're not even guaranteed playing time.
Yeah.
You can be paying out the ass for all this and not even doesn't even get on the floor.
Exactly. You help pay for the team's uniforms or whatever.
But doggone it, he's in the pictures with him.
He is, right? We got to Indianapolis this weekend, and it's like I say, it's different, but no, it is. It's hard to. So I started, and again, not knocking anybody, because I did the same thing with Owen's age group of kids. That our tryouts were the Monday after they just got through with their last summer tournament. So it was just they didn't even rest 24 hours, right? And then, so it's just baseball.
Yeah.
Right. And you can get them focused, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this group this year were not stale by any means. We got better every practice, and they started to believe, right? And we talked about state, because I knew that was a possibility for them. Kept talking about it. I would bring some of that 2017 team back to practice, and they would talk to them, Same thing people told us, you don't realize the opportunity in front of you.
Yeah.
Right? We're just like, yeah, whatever. But, as it moved on, they got to believe it, and we'd talk, right? Come regional semifinals in our class, 193 teams, or 193 schools.
Yeah.
But it'd be like 64 teams left. It's cut in half, right?
Yeah.
And 32, and you keep talking about it, and they start believing. But it's tough sometimes, right? To see that.
Yeah. I remember back in the day, I was the opposite with those guys because I didn't. I'm like that. I'm just a real. Not anal about stuff, but I'm just like, don't get cocky, so it's just like, but that was a different kind of, every team's different, but they, man, I could talk about that travel, because I've heard, buddies who have daughters and stuff, and one of them, really likes it and is good with it, but, then I got another buddy who's like, he's driving all over the place, and sometimes you play, it's just like, whoo, boy. Yeah.
It's stress on the family, too. I mean, we'd go to tournaments where you got to go to Indianapolis for a weekend, and before you know it, it's hotels and eating out and everything. And it's a stress. And we even did that, but Tracy and I with Owen, we would be like, I'm not taking a vacation this summer because we're going to stay at 9 hotels over and make that our vacation.
Yeah.
A little swimming.
Got 9 vacations.
Go to a town a little town and see what they're popular for. Go to Indianapolis and go to the go-kart track. So it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. But
and those kind of decisions are, with him being, Stevie being 7, it's like that's the kind of stuff coming up here. It's going to have to.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't know. Well, I'm glad I don't have to decide right now, but because it's like, but all that stuff will sort itself out.
Oh yeah, definitely will. Because I was the same. I worried about it, and it does, and it figures itself out. Right, he'll figure out what he wants to do, and but that's a cool thing about it.
Yeah, he's we went down and
is he left-handed or right-handed?
He's right-handed.
Oh yes.
It's funny because those videos will pop up on your phone. That you have like just all that.
Yeah.
And I was looking at some of them, and he was like 2. And I was like, come here, look at these. And he was doing everything left-handed. Because I don't know if I think I was pushing it a little bit. And I have to talk to Chase about this, but I'm pretty sure he's pushing that on his boy too, wants him to be left. But like he was hitting left-handed and everything, and then just kind of, and I wasn't like forcing it. I was just like whatever. But then he just kind of switched over, you know. But yeah, he's definitely right-handed, but he's got his left's not bad. But yeah.
That's weird because when I started swinging,
you hit left and throw right and hit left. Yeah.
So I started. Dad tells a story about it to where one of my cousins was lived with us at the time, and I'd go out and throw in the yard with him, and I was 6 or 7 years old, and I picked up a bat and started hitting left-handed. And he tried to switch me around. Dad's like, leave him alone.
Oh yeah,
that's what he wants to do. So, and anything swinging wise, chopping wood or whatever, I swing left-handed.
Yeah, you golf.
Well,
you golf right-handed?
No, I golf left-handed.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
I call it golf. A lot of people that actually golf don't call it golf, right? But yeah, I hit a golf ball left-handed.
I'm a ball in a scramble where I don't have to. We're just drinking beer and playing.
Exactly. I love scrambles.
Yeah.
Right? So get up there and you got to drink beer and swing hard.
Yeah.
Right. So see what happens. Hit it, and I play bomb and gouge. Hit it hard and go find it and gouge it out of the woods or whatever. So
that's how. People that are like that, like Dad. I mean, Dad would like wrote left-handed.
I didn't realize that. Huh?
Pitched right-handed, and
I remember watching your dad pitch back in the day. Man, he could bring in. That's another thing too. It's stuff you remember right around sports, and that's how that gets burned into you. They used to have a fast pitch league in Crispin even back in the day, right? And there was like 8 or 9 teams. Of course, Rich Furman, Georgetown would come down, but I remember watching like your dad and John Bright and guys would come over, and just to watch them, it was awesome. It was a hell of a fast pitch, and your dad was tough. Oof, man, he could throw hard and underhanded. I never figured out how to do that, but he was awesome.
Yeah, when I got older and we could go belly up somewhere or something, and he got tell some stories. But then when I was around other guys, like Dick St. Clair told me he caught him for a while, and he told me stories about breaking his thumb and stuff.
Yep.
And he apparently he had a little Bob Gibson type thing where he just drill you. Yeah.
I never did see it, but I heard heard people talk about it. My dad actually talks about one of them where, I don't know, Dad, he didn't play with your dad much, but they jumped, like it was a tournament somewhere, and it's like this guy was coming up to hit, but he was standing between innings. He got too close to the plate, and your dad like threw it at him and said, "Get your ass back in the plate." Because he was like 2 innings, he's like warming up, and the guy's like trying to time him.
Yeah,
he whipped one over his head that backstops. "Get your ass back away from me! Don't you time me!" But,
yeah, there was one that I remember. I don't know if it was Dick saying it but Lyle Lohman, he was playing on a team playing third base or something, I think. But I don't know. Dad was like pitching, and he had it was like in the 7th. They played 9 innings. Okay, either way, if they played 7, it was at the 5th. If they played 9, it was either way. It was like this dude that was up was hitting, then and had like one more at bat. But Dad struck him out, and he was mouthing off, going back to the dugout, and he had a perfect game going. And this guy came up with 2 outs in the 9th or the last inning, however many innings they played, and so everybody knew he had a perfect game. Blah blah. First pitch, just bam, just drops him. And Lyle's and Lyle came over. He's like, "You had a perfect game." And Dad's like, "I don't give a fuck," And he goes, he's like, "So I struck the next guy out and got a no hitter."
Yep.
But he's just
that sounds about right for your dad.
Yeah, just like that's why. Oh man, that's another thing too. I could get like these guys. Are you watching the playoffs at all, like World Series or anything?
A little bit. I didn't watch last night's all highlights, but
Dolis Garcia, who, it's not just him. All these guys that pimp their homers and do all that kind of stuff. It's just like, I can't.
Oh, I know it. And that's a lot of the reason I don't watch anymore. I mean, and they, MLB's messed with the game so much too, I think. But that's the thing.
They're trying to make it.
You talk like, I guess with social media and whatever, and your fans, but I just can't. Right?
Yeah.
It'd be like your dad if you do that next, you're probably gonna have one in your ear next time, right?
Yeah.
If you're flipping a bat around, and it's
definitely
tough to watch, no doubt.
There was a quote, because Dusty Baker retired, and he had I saw a quote that he had. Hank Aaron told him, first time he faced Bob Gibson, he's like, "Shit, I can't. I'm gonna mess up." But it was just like, don't look at him. He doesn't like that. He's like, if you hit a homer, he's like, don't run too fast, don't run too slow. And he said, and he named all these other things. And Dusty Baker said he had like a 17-game hitting streak, and he was just like, "What about a 17-game hitting streak?" And he's just like, "Well, that's probably going to be done." And he's like, "And my hitting streak ended that night." But he just had this list like of don'ts with Bob Gibson. He's like, "Don't look at him." Oh, and he's like, "And if he hits you, don't charge the mound because he's a Gold Glove boxer." Because he was, he played for the Harlem Globetrotters.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's just
I've heard a lot of stories and read a lot of stuff about it, but I didn't realize that. But, you'd be like, well, I'm gonna have a coach take me out because I don't even know what to do. Right?
Yeah.
Go up to the plate.
But these guys that do that, that's why I love. Like, my favorite Cardinal of all time is Roland, and then like I love Goldie because he just didn't do that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But like these guys that do that, then if they do get hit, they're just so like, what do I do? And then they want to start this big fight. It's just
that's just as much of a show. It seems like, and all these pads and whatever. I don't know. I mean, the year that I was able to coach basketball down at Crestwood, it's a long story, but when I was working at a place before I'm working now, he didn't really like the fact that for 5 months you got to leave work early and this and that. But told the kids, "You're not wearing shooting sleeves." What?
My gosh, all that stuff.
What are they for? I'm like, oh, they couldn't even answer. Right? Like, well, what's it do? Keeps my arm warm. Nope, that is not what that. No, it's 90 in the gym and you're going to sweat.
Yeah,
what is it for?
Yes,
right?
I agree.
So, I mean, if you get a knee brace, you got a bad knee, or you got a knee pad because I was going to slaughter, whatever. But what does this do or wristbands, right? What I don't get it.
Yeah.
So that
I know
it's. I had some kids before, and they know who they are if they hear this, but they'll like put on a sliding mitt. I'm like, come on, man, you're a 7th grader. What are you doing? Like, it ain't metal spikes out here.
Yeah.
So and so's go with a sliding mitt.
Yeah. We went to a Cardinal game. I think it was this year. We only went to a couple because for obvious reasons. But But we were sitting down pretty low, and this lady they were like from Florida, and they were visiting. I don't know I can't remember who we were playing. Either way, she told this story about this kid, her son, I think, who like other kids on the team, they got the sliding mitts, and she's like, "You don't need one of those." So he showed up with an oven mitt with tape around it. He was running on the bases with a freaking oven mitt. She's like, "Cause he just had to have them." And I'm like, "I'm not buying you one." So he took an oven mitt out of my. Went to the game.
So I use oven mitts in practice, but for fielding, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Coordination. But it's like, and it's funny because you talk about all those pads and stuff. So for whatever reason, but it was a blast. So the guys that I used to play baseball with, of course, went to Paris to play Babe Ruth and things like that. I got to know those guys really good, still good friends to this day. So we played in a 40 over wood bat league in Terre Haute for only play 4 years.
Yeah,
and it was fun because you get to hang around those guys, right? But I'm like, I don't get all these pads and elbow pads and stuff like that, and never fouled a ball off my foot all those years. My first at bat, I fouled off the inside of my thigh. I'm like, what the hell? I've never done that ever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Happened,
yeah, I can't.
So I don't know, but I guess maybe they got so much money invested in these players anymore, and that's why you look at like Cal Ripken's streak, right? It's going to be that's one will probably never be broken. His or Ricky Henderson's stolen bases.
Yeah.
So they put so much money in a player, these big league teams, right? That if somebody's got a hangnail.
I know.
Play, right? So that Cal Ripken's record never be approached, I don't think. Because it's an investment to an extent. So
I know.
But there's
it's ridiculous. And you got the load management BS with NBA. Oh my gosh, I can't stand it.
I won't watch NBA of course, back in the day, right?
Jokic. I like watching Jokic.
Oh, yeah. The old school guys, right? And you got to work
he's
hard.
amazing, yeah.
Don't have a ton of, it feels like not a ton of athletic ability, but just get the job done.
Yeah.
Right? So, but it's, it's hard, so hard to watch NBA.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why it was like, I watched the playoffs last year just because of him, but man, it's just amazing to watch him play. He is just, he's like, averages triple-double, and he's 7 foot, and he's slow, and but his footwork is unbelievable, and he is the smartest.
That's the whole thing, man.
Yeah.
Lives between his that game between the ears is huge, and
yeah.
Look, even back when I was watching, love to watch Larry Bird too. Went to Larry Bird basketball camp, same thing.
Yeah,
just fundamentally sound from top to bottom.
Oh, I know,
right? Unbelievably, and just slow, and
kind
of wallers around, and
it
was that's a different type of person.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. What's your take on this NIL stuff in college?
Oh God, I think it's the wild, wild west. I mean, you can't. I have no idea. It's the most crooked thing I've ever seen.
Right? Because it's, talk about kids staying, and even recruiting, right? So the way I understand it, so let's take 5-star athlete, right? It's down to Duke and Indiana and Illinois and Kentucky, or whatever, right? So, and Indiana has, of course, I'm an Indiana fan, has already talked to the car dealerships there.
Yeah.
And said, come here, we can get you $250,000 a year. It's like,
I know.
You can't, I don't know how you do that, right? I don't know. But, I mean, I get it to an extent, back when, kids were going to school.
They've
and
always
not
been
money,
cheating,
right?
but now
so,
it's like, but
but kind of out in the open. So.
Yeah, but it's so out of control.
It is. Transfer portal, it just ruins it.
That's what we were talking, like that, like these guys here, stayed, and then that's the thing that sucks for, like, my son is like, he likes Illinois and stuff, but guys are in and out. Like, you can't get too attached to somebody because they might be there for a year. And then,
right, that's perfect. Yeah.
Well, like that '89 Flying Illini team. I mean, hell, those guys were amazing. But 1 year and you're gone. But transfer portal's a joke. But the NIL deal, I don't know how. That's one of those that's so effed up. I don't even know if they know what to do because it's just like out of control. And then and NCAA is a joke. It is. So it's like I don't know. But they've got to regulate something.
They got to get their hands around it because, jumping around, the kids don't fit any games, and, I don't know.
Yeah, kids just...
And you get that a lot, too, because kids at that age, so you go to, I see it, these kids that go to Kentucky or these big-time blue blood schools where they were the man on their high school team or the AU team, and they get there and there's another dog on the same team, right? Yeah. It's like he's not happy because he's not getting the shots where someone goes somewhere else. Like, come on.
I know. That's the thing. You can't, there's no, they give it about 3 months. Yeah. And then they're just like, Yeah,
we'll go somewhere else or because I don't not getting the shots I want or not running the right offense. I don't know. It's, I still watch college basketball a lot. But it's,
one like Underwood, he's had to, completely rebuild his roster the last, this year, I guess Shannon and Hawkins came back, but
that'll be good.
Yeah, but it's just one of those where, by the way, that Epps kid that left, my buddy sent me a thing. They had like a scrimmage against somebody at Georgetown. He had 46. That point guard that left. Yeah. Like, Jesus,
that sounds about right.
Yeah, but Georgetown, hell, who else is gonna? But yeah, I think that whole it's hard to. I don't understand it, and I don't know how they're allowed to do all of it. I don't know where the money's. I mean, it's just.
But say it's out of control.
Well, and like the college football, this NCAA in general, hell, they're talking like it might even just not even be a. They might branch off and just not even have it anymore and do some other. Yeah,
might not be anything anymore.
That will confuse the hell out of me if they do that. Yeah. I won't know. Yeah.
And these conferences, they're making super conferences and stuff right now. Big Ten picked up on the West Coast.
Yes.
Come on now. What's going on?
I hate that.
Yeah.
It's like there's no geographical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But UCLA and USC in the Big Ten. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, they didn't ask me what I thought, but I still think it's corny. Yeah. Long trips and.
Oh yeah.
But.
Yeah. Well. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice conversation.
Yeah, man. This has been a lot of fun. So, actually, I've been listening to your stuff. It's awesome. It's awesome. You got a heck of a setup here. This is cool.
Well, thank you.
This is cool. So, man, anytime you want to shoot the crap or whatever, let me know. I enjoy talking with you about sports in general. Somebody that has some knowledge on the stuff. It's
well, we'll see.
Sometimes you run into people that want to talk and don't know.
That's true.
Nod, right?
I have. I know the type.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
No, it's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you having me up.
All right.
So
cool. Thanks a lot for coming. Yeah, I'll do it again. All right.
No doubt.
Thanks a lot. And that's that.
That's it.